There was a life experience I'd like to share with you that really altered my own perspective growing up. I was about 30 years old, sitting in a restaurant, and somebody called me sir for the first time. My self-image always was of a young man calling other people sir. This was the first time I'd ever be called sir, and I had no idea why. So it was like a punch in the gut. It was like a knife in the gut for me to really get that type of response by someone. The waitress at the restaurant was just being respectful. I understood that, but I understood why it was necessary to call me sir until I went home and saw that, oh, yeah, my hair is receding. My beard was a little bit gray. My hair was a little bit gray. Now I could understand why someone who was like 18, 19 years old coming to me and calling me sir, because I was far older than them and I probably looked older than I was. So even though that first sir hit me like a punch in the gut or a knife in the heart, it really did make me focus on the reality of the world over my personal reality of who I was. So the next time I got sir was in Home Depot, and the young kid carried all my stuff out to my car. I thought this was great. So now I own sir as a pronoun.
What are your pronouns?
Sir. Now it's very important to preserve mental integrity. You have to adjust your perceived reality, your personal reality, your self-image reality to the reality of the shared reality of the world. You have to adjust to the world. The world does not have to adjust to you. I want to show you someone who does not accept the reality of the world into her personal reality. This is a tranny video, and I don't want anyone getting hate mail for tranny or transphobia or something like this. Again, remember, this is a critical thinking, critical judgment type of podcast that allows you to sort of look at a situation that has a lot of conflict and take back from that what you would do in that situation. Now, I don't know if this person was just setting up to do multiple videos to create a reaction or whatever. I don't know. It didn't seem too serious to me about this guy dressing up like a woman. Not even as good as Milton Berle. Not even as good as Robin Williams in Mrs. Doubtfire. It was like a tacky, cheesy outfits with a matching dog. If I ever saw that, I would think that was a little bit more cartoonish. I would think that would be somebody's on just doing a prank or something like that. And I would literally call him sir as well, because obviously he's a sir. So in this sort of situation, I don't know where that guy's going with respect to his perspective, but he has to do a better job if he's going to fit into the reality of the world. Now, look at these next videos.
It looks like he's having a nice feast.
She, her.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all good.
But it was not all good.
Hi. I use she, her pronouns. I'm not sir. Yeah, like it's like a knife in the heart. I did specifically ask ahead of time not to be called sir. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. Yeah, the sweet water starts at, okay. I'm so sorry. I apologize. It's just always like a knife. It always hurts every single time. I was wondering if there's a manager I could talk to about something that happened. Yeah, I was called sir. Oh, okay. It just really sucks every time it happens. I don't need to be called ma'am. I just need to not be called sir, you know? Thank you. Did you call me sir? I just want to tell you that the person who gave me this called me sir.
Look how she is forcing language rule changes it is custom to greet with. Ma'am or sir, she says denies both.
Very good. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. I'm not a sir. Nothing like a good misgendering. It is a knife in the gut when I get called sir. I feel like I need to tell him. I need to tell him that hurt. It hurts more when it's not intentional, because it means like this is sir to him. I know you didn't mean it, but I'm not a sir. It's okay. I know you didn't mean it. It's just, it hurts. I know when people clock me, it's fine, but like it does kind of hurt. Thank you. I'm not sir. Not sir.
Clearly this guy is not being misgendered because he does not present himself as an actual trans woman. It's clear in these videos that he is trying to get attention by going to different places all the time and harassing people, basically, as far as I can see, about this gender issue. So his image reality conflicts with actual reality. He tries to change the reality of these restaurants. This can only lead to mental stress. And you can see this on other social media sites where you have a guy who's 6'5", as big as an NFL tight end, or should I say wide receiver, freaking out because he's walking in a wig and lipstick, and people call him sir, even though he tries to identify as a woman. You're not going to get away with it. Everyone in the States, and in Canada here as well, we use sir and ma'am as an act of respect. But with these new rise of all these new genders who you want to identify with, it's not the person that says sir or ma'am who has the reality issue. It's the person that wants to have the opposite. Now let's look at a couple TikToks with trannies who get it. Now, can you see the difference here? In fact, I might change my name to slave and my pronouns are sub and bottom. In fact, the irony is, if these trans women went in and asked the restaurant to call them men or sir, even though they are actually biological men, that would be the confusing part to waiters and waitresses at this restaurant. So even though they are men, they're so convincingly women, you would not expect anyone to call them other than ma'am. They would never call them sir. Therein lies the irony that men dressed as women who want to be called sir would not get it because they don't look the part of a sir. That's the power of the perception and the observation of the other person making the critical decision. So when you go in and someone's trying to look at the information that they have before them, and they deduce that how you look, how you speak, your voice, your bone structure, your stature, they look at that to determine whether you're a man or a woman, not if you have bauble earrings and lipstick. The subconscious critical thinking takes all the cues that you have. So he has to accept the fact that he wants to go out and dress this way and present himself this way. He's going to run into some conflict. He shouldn't be fighting against it. He should be accepting it. In other situations, there are androgynous people that may run into this same conflict of whether people perceive them as male or female because they can cover both spectrums, especially if their name is Chris or Pat, for example, from a SNL series. You can just see how people will use whatever visual cues and observations in history they have. It doesn't have to be a bias in there. It doesn't have to be hatred. You just have to recognize that people who have a certain perspective of the world will look at you through their eyes. To keep mental stress down, there has to be this understanding. I'm not saying that trans women shouldn't want to be identified by whatever pronouns they want, but they have to understand that changing the world isn't going to happen. They just have to appreciate there's other people out there, have the tolerance for them, and allow them to be as accommodating as they can and understand there's going to be mistakes made. You don't go out with tacky clothes and a little dog forcing people to do things that are just absurd. It just doesn't make sense. If you want to have that type of relationship with the world and force them to agree with what you want, you are not only going to alienate yourself from the world, you're just going to create more mental stress because you know it's not right either. Mental stress is just going to be created for everybody in that situation. So what we want to do is, for our own personal lives, we have to adapt our reality to what is the perceived reality of the world and live within those confines and just adjust those confines. If that man actually wants to become a woman, that's where the surgeries come in. But until that actual transformations happen, he shouldn't be freaking out on people coming in as a man dressed up like Milton Berle and suffering the consequences of a comedy act. Critical thinking and judgment, using critical thinking to keep your own stress down, is inherent. And again, perspective of the other person, understanding the other person's biases, understanding the other person's worldview, and how common that is very, very important in order for you to have better mental health and better critical thinking skills.